Hey everyone, in this video, I'm gonna go over the process of integrating a CMS in a custom site. If you have a custom site, then you won't get CMS for free like we get in a platform like WordPress. So either you need to build a CMS of your own or use some existing solution or uh, not have any CMS, which is not a good idea for the long term. So in this tutorial, I'm gonna show you how you can integrate a CMS, and I'm sure this is gonna save you a lot of time and effort because instead of having to create a CMS of your own, I'm gonna show you how you can use Sanity to integrate an out-of-the-box CMS solution to your custom site or product. So what is Sanity? Sanity is a headless CMS, which means that it lets you save and manage your content, but don't enforce any structure to it. Hence, it is a perfect solution for custom sites where structure could vary from one site to another. At 12 Tech, we build a lot of custom sites. That is one thing which we specialize in. And Sanity has now become our de facto CMS solution for all our custom sites. Okay, so let's get started. Step number one is to install the Sanity CLI. So we're going to have this command. On my host, it's already installed, so it's not going to do much. Then next thing would be to initialize a new project. For that, you do sanity init. And then in your case, it's going to ask you to log in. I'm already logged in, so I'm going to just create a new project. And then that would be, so in this example, we are going to set up a blog for our site. And we're just going to accept the defaults for now. Okay, this is good. And then since we are setting up a blog, we will select the blog template. Uh, but with Sanity, as I've mentioned earlier, it doesn't enforce any restriction, any structure to the data. So you can define your own schema just through the schema definition. You can just define whatever schema you need. Okay, and next we're gonna log into this directory. Just do sanity start. Okay, so it should be available on my local host on this URL. Need to log in. Since we selected the template for blog, we already got uh, the schema for a blog, and I can actually show you real quick. So if you go to schemas, so here you have your main schema file, and then just gonna look at one more schema as an example. So this is where you're defining your main schema. And if you go to the post file, here you are defining the structure of the post. And whatever fields you define, they're gonna show up here. Um, when let's suppose you add a post, all these fields are going to show up. Sanity is going to render all these fields. So that's the beauty of using Sanity, that you can just define your schema and then the corresponding fields for those based on those schema would get rendered, and then you can input values for them using the UI. Okay, we don't want to get derailed too much, so let's go and add a post. First, let's add an author. Go to author. We're gonna add myself, and then we're gonna also use some picture. I already have one here. Great. And I'm gonna edit it a little bit. Okay, this should be good. Okay. And here right now it's in draft stage, so we can publish. And then when you add a post, not yet. Let this be our first post. So let's call it how to set up a CMS for a custom website. Okay, and author is myself. Yeah, other field I'm just leaving, and this I'm just gonna say step 1, set up Sanity. Okay. Okay, good for now. Now, right now it's running off of localhost. So at this stage, we can just go ahead and deploy it. So that would be done by just doing sanity deploy. So we're gonna say okay. Okay, so it got built successfully and then got deployed. So now if we visit this URL, this should be available. There you go. I'm just gonna close the localhost one. And there you go. We have our first post. Okay. Next, we are going to start setting up our front-end app. So as with almost all of our projects at 12 Tech, unless explicitly required, we use React for front end. So we're going to use the same app here. Okay, we're going to create the web app using the very nice create React app tool. So create React app, and then you specify the app name. So we call it 12 Tech blog. Add some dashes. Front end. There you go. Okay, so the app has been created, and we just go to the app directory, and we should see it. Good. And while we are here, we are also going to install the router, React router DOM. So the React router is installed. Now we are gonna, and then we're just gonna start it. Um, just gonna start it with npm start. Okay, it's coming up. It's coming up. Here we go. So this is the default app that we have. Let's open it up. Okay. Okay. And now we're just gonna remove all of this code and replace it with our own. Okay, here it is. So this is not a React tutorial, so I'm not gonna explain each and every line of code. I'm just gonna explain enough to show the flow and how show the parts where we are integrating with Sanity. Okay, so here it's our structure is very simple. On the root, we have a blog component. Basically, this is where we're going to show the list of blog articles. And then when someone says blog and then provide the article ID, we are going to show that specific blog article. Okay, so save it. It's not going to work because we don't have the other classes. So first, I'm going to show you the implementation where we connect to Sanity. So I just call it the Sanity client module, and basically it's just a thin wrapper over the Sanity's actual client. These details we're gonna get from the project. Let me actually show you how you get them. So if you go and log into Sanity, and then go to your Sanity project which you want to integrate with, and then here you're gonna get these details, the project ID and the data set. Data set is here, this what we selected on the CLI. Okay, and we also need to install this, so go to our front-end app and install. Okay, the client is installed and this is all set up. Now we're gonna go to, so this is the implementation of the blog UI component. The main objective here is to just get a list of the blog articles and then show them to the user so that they can select one of them. This is Sanity's query language called Grok. It's very comprehensive, and that is the primary interface you use to retrieve data from the backend. What I'm doing here is just querying based on the document type, but of course, in a production setup, I'm also going to query, add some date ranges to it, or maybe just retrieve like top 5 or top 10 articles. Okay, so now the once the user clicks on the article, we want that user to be routed to the component that is going to render the actual article. And the component that renders the actual article is called the blog article component here. And this is its implementation. Few things to note here is, of course, we get the article ID in the path parameter, and then we use that in our query. So here is that query. Um, and um, we get the content of that article, basically what was written using Sanity's rich text editor in the body. And then Sanity has there's a component, a React component that we can use to render that in the form of HTML. Sanity has their own way of storing uh, rich text, which they called portable text. So what this component is going to do is take the Sanity's version of um, that text and then translate it into HTML eventually. Let's take a look at our main app file. And as you can see, we have two main components here. One is the blog, which shows the blog articles in the form of a list. And the other one is the blog article itself that renders the blog post. And these are the paths for these two components. Let's go and run. And to run, we're going to do npm start. And this should come up. So right now we only have one article, and this is the one that's showing up right now. And when we click on it, it gets rendered. Now, let's add another article and then see if it shows up on our blog. So another thing which I want to blog about is how to set up Elasticsearch on an EC2 instance. Generate the slug, and author is myself, and then to do blog about this topic. Okay, then just publish. And let's go back to our app and see if it shows up. So refresh, and here it is. So this is the article, you click on it, and this is the content that we wrote.